Hi everyone, my name is Sébastien Lagree. I am the creator and founder of Lagree Fitness. Today I'm here with beautiful master teacher trainer, Lacey. How are you, Lacey?
Fantastic.
Doing good? Yes. So Lacey and I are going to show you, we're going to demonstrate you the different tempo counts. So usually when you do a Lagree class, most teachers are going to count to a tempo of 4 count. So 4 counts on the way out, 4 counts on the way in. However, as part of Lagree's progressive overloading, you are supposed to move slower over time. So you're going to go to a tempo of 6 count, a tempo of 8 counts, 10 counts, 12, and so on. So today we're going to show you a tempo of 4 count, and a tempo of 8 count, a tempo of 12 count, and a tempo of 16 count, just so that you see the difference in the speed of the movement. Obviously, when you guys teach a class out there, or when someone teaches you a class, teachers will be limited on how far they can count, right? They can count maybe up to 8, but then after that, it's very challenging to count up to 10, 12, and 16 because it literally takes the entire amount of the class just to count. So this is why I created the Tempo Player, which is now available on the Evo 2, and the Tempo Player is also available on any Megaformer model and on the Evo 1. We are also going to retrofit it for the Micro and the Mini because as you see, when you use a tempo player, you will be able to teach everyone in class to a tempo beyond 16. And you're about to see that 16 is very slow, so I feel bad for Lacey a little bit, but she can handle it. Okay, look at her zap, yeah, she can totally handle it. So you'll be able to teach a class to a level past 16, which is extremely slow. And we're going to have certain references for super slow speed, like the striation speed, for example, which starts at count 16. So you'll see when we are at count 16, it's going to look like Lacey is barely moving, and you're going to have to pay attention to which direction she's moving because at first, when you catch her profile, you won't see if she's moving forward or moving back, and that's kind of the tempo that we're looking for. All right, Lacey, are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Okay, we're gonna shoot 2 exercises only. So we're gonna start with the wheelbarrow, and then after that, we're gonna jump into the lunge. So we're only demoing these 2 exercises, but it's applicable to all the exercises, okay? All of them, not just the wheelbarrow and the lunge. Got me? All right, Lacey, let's do it. So the first tempo is gonna be the wheelbarrow taught at a tempo of 4 count. You're gonna go out for 1, out for 2, out for 3, out for 4, in for 1, in for 2, in for 3, in for 4. Again, out for 1, out for 2, out for 3, out for 4, and in for 1, in for 2, in for 3, in for 4. Perfect. So this is your starting speed. At that speed, we are basically trying to eliminate the momentum in the movement. Once you have mastered that speed and you're able to keep your body alignment, then you're going to try to go to a count of 8. So here's an example of the count of 8. Ready? Go out for 1, out for 2, out for 3, out for 4, out for 5, out for 6, out for 7, out for 8, in for 1, in for 2, in for 3, in for 4, in for 5, in for 6, in for 7, in for 8. One more time. Out for 1, out for 2, out for 3, out for 4, out for 5, out for 6, out for 7, out for 8, and in for 1, slow, in for 2, slow, in for 3, slow, in for 4, in for 5, in for 6, in for 7, in for 8. So a tempo of 8 count, that's when you start to master the method a little bit more. You become more in control. Once you go to a speed of 8 counts, it's after very effortless to go to a count that is above. So now let's go to a count of 12. Ready, Lacey? Go out for 1, out for 2, out for 3, out, 4, 4, out, 4, 5, out, 4, 6, out, 4, 7, out, 4, 8, out, 4, 9, out, 4, 10, out, 4, 11, out, 4, 12, in, 4, 1, slow, in, 4, 2, slow, in, 4, 3, slow, in, 4, 4, slow, in, 4, 5, slow, in, 4, 6, slow, in, 4, 7, slow, in, 4, 8, slow, in, 4, 9, slow, in, 4, 10, in, 4, 11, in, 4, 12. Okay, that's fucking slow, right? Let's do one more time. 4, 12 counts. Go out, 4, 1, slow, out, 4, 2, slow, out, 4, 3, slow, out, 4, 4, slow, out, 4, 5, slow, out, 4, 6, slow, out, 4, 7, slow, out, 4, 8, slow, out, 4, 9, slow, out, 4, 10, slow, out, 4, 11, slow, out, 4, 12, slow, in, 4, 1, slow, in, 4, 2, slow, in, 4, 3, slow, in, 4, 4, slow, in, 4, 5, slow, in, 4, 6, slow, in, 4, 7, slow, in, 4, 8, slow, in, 4, 9, slow, in, 4, 10, slow, in, 4, 11, in, 4, 12. Woo! Nice. All right, so you guys see now the difference in the speed. So now we're going to go for the ultimate, 16. Now remember that 16 is still not the end goal, but at 16, you're going to notice that Lacey is barely moving forward or back, so I want you to catch her speed because it's going to take you a couple seconds to see which direction she's going. So that's called striation speed. Once you're no longer able to tell at first glance which direction she's going, that becomes a great speed for Lagree. But again, your goal is to go beyond a count of 16. Ready, Lacey? All right. I'm going to have to remember to count to 16. I haven't counted 16 for a long time. Ready? Go. Out, 4, 1, slow. Out, 4, 2, slow. Out, 4, 3, slow. Out, 4, 4, slow. Out, 4, 5, slow. Out, 4, 6, slow. Out, 4, 7, slow. Out, 4, 8, slow. Out, 4, 9, slow. Out, 4, 10, slow. Out, 4, 11, slow. Out, 4, 12, slow. Out, 4, 13, slow. Out, 4, 14, slow. Out, 4, 15, slow. Out, 4, 16, slow. In, 4, 1, slow. In, 4, 2, slow. In, 4, 3, slow. In, 4, 4, slow. In, 4, 5, slow. In, 4, 6, slow. In, 4, 7, slow. In, 4, 8. In, 4, 9. In, 4, 10. In, 4, 11. In, 4, 12. In, 4, 13. In, 4, 14. In, 4, 15. In, 4, 16. One more time. Out, 4, 1. Out, 4, 2. Out, 4, 3. Out, 4, 4. Out, 4, 5. Out, 4, 6. Out, 4, 7. Out, 4, 8. Out, 4, 9. Out, 4, 10. Out, 4, 11. Out, 4, 12. Out, 4, 13. Out, 4, 14. Out, 4, 15. Out, 4, 16. And in, 4, 1. In, 4, 2. In, 4, 3. In, 4, 4. In, 4, 5. In, 4, 6. In, 4, 7. In, 4, 8. In, 4, 9. In, 4, 10. In, 4, 11. In, 4, 12. In, 4, 13. In, 4, 14. In, 4, 15. In, 4, 16. Well done. Very nice. So as you can see now, the count is 16 already, that Lacey was shaking a lot more. And again, this goes back to the progressive overloading. So I'm recommending you to slow down the count, but only if you are able to maintain the perfect body alignment, just like as Lacey demonstrated. And also, of course, keeping the right body alignment, moving to the right range of motion, moving to the perfect range of motion. and of course keeping that same slow speed. So that was very good. So now we're going to show you the lunge. And for that lunge, Lacey, we're going to bend the back leg a little bit, okay? So we're not going to keep the leg straight because we're going to work on that range of motion as well. So we'll do kind of a deep floor lunge on this. So now we're going to start with a count of 4. Ready, Lacey? Okay. Lunge down for 1, slow. Down for 2, slow. Down for 3, slow. Down for 4, and up for 1, slow. Up for 2, slow. Up for 3, slow. Up for 4. One more time. Down for 1, slow. Down for 2. Down for 3. Down for 4. Up for 1. Up for 2. Up for 3. Up for 4. So that would be the first basic speed. So when you start Lagree and you're just starting out, that is a speed that you try to master. Once you master that speed, then you want to go to the 6 or 8 count. I'm not going to show the 6 count. I will go right to the 8 counts. Ready? Go down for 1, down for 2, down for 3, down for 4, down for 5, down for 6, down for 7, down for 8, and up for 1, up for 2, up for 3, up for 4, up for 5, up for 6, up for 7, up for 8. One more time. Down for 1, slow. Down for 2, down for 3, down for 4, down for 5, down for 6, down for 7, down for 8, and up for 1, up for 2, up for 3, up for 4, up for 5, up for 6, up for 7, up for 8. Very well. Okay, so now you saw the 8 count, so you already see a dramatic change in the speed of the movement. But now we're going to go to 12. So 12, you become professional-like, right? So when you start go to a speed above 10, that's when you start getting into the professional master area. So now let's do the floor lunge for a speed of 12 counts. Ready? Go down for 1, slow. Down for 2, slow. Down for 3, slow. Down for 4, slow. Down for 5, slow. Down for 6. Down for 7. Down for 8. Down for 9. Down for 10. Down for 11. Down for 12. Up for 1. Up for 2. Up for 3. Up for 4. Up for 5. Up for 6. Up for 7. Up for 8. Up for 9. Up for 10. Up for 11. Up for 12. One more time. Down for 1, slow. Down for 2, slow. Down for 3, slow. Down for 4, slow. Down for 5, slow. Down for 6, slow. Down for 7, slow. Down for 8. Down for 9. Down for 10. Down for 11. Down for 12. And up for 1. Up for 2. Up for 3. Up for 4. Up for 5, slow. Up for 6, slow. Up for 7, slow. Up for 8, slow. Up for 9. Up for 10. Up for 11. Up for 12. Nice. So now you can see Lacey shaking a lot more. So the shake is also synonymous with the speed, right? So this is one way that I get the people to shake very easily, is really by slowing down the speed. But again, we are only slowing down the speed if you're keeping the right body alignment. Do not slow down the count if your body alignment is not perfect. And I mean it perfect, okay? Not just okay. We want a perfect body alignment because we're going to start to push the intensity. So we don't want to push more intensity if the body is not properly aligned. So that's a very important point. So now we're going to go to the last count, the count of 16. So the count of 16 is what you're really trying to do in every Lagree class. Once you master the count of 16, then you're going to have to manually count really in your head, above that. But very soon, each machine will have the tempo light, and the tempo light will guide you, and it will help you to go beyond the count of 16. And then now you understand why I'm always hiring Lacey to do these videos, because it takes someone who's incredibly strong to do these videos, especially move this fast. And I feel almost sorry for Lacey for this one, but you know what? That's the way it is. Okay, Lacey, 16, ready? Ready. Okay, and let's start. Go down for 1, slow. Down for 2, slow. Down for 3, slow. Down for 4, slow. Down for 5, slow. Down for 6, slow. Down for 7, slow. Down for 8. Down for 9. Down for 10. Down for 11. Down for 12. Down for 13. Down for 14. Down for 15. Down for 16, and up for 1, up for 2, up for 3, up for 4, up for 5, up for 6, up for 7, up for 8, up for 9, up for 10, up for 11, up for 12, up for 13, up for 14, up for 15, up for 16. But on the next one, Lacey, let's try to go deeper down, okay? I know, it's very challenging. And that's what's going to happen if you guys really slow down. It's going to be easier in some range of motion, but we want full range of motion. Let's not forget the second effective key is full range of motion. So let's do it. Let's cheer Lacey, all of us. 16 counts on the way down and full range of motion. Ready, Lacey? Go down for 1. You can do it. Down for 2. Slow. Down for 3. Down for 4. Down for 5. Down for 6. Down for 7. Down for 8. Beautiful. Down for 9. Go for it. Down for 10. You got it. Down for 11. Down for 12. Down for 13. Down for 14. Down for 15. Down for 16. And up for 1. Up for 2. You got it. Up for 3. Up for 4. Up for 5. Up for 6. Up for 7. You got it. Up for 8. Halfway. Up for 9. Up for 10. Up for 11. Good. Up for 12. Up for 13. Up for 14. Up for 15. Up for 16. Well done. All right. A little applaud here for Lacey. Woo! That body was shaking. Trembling. Shaking.
Couldn't stop. Do anything about it.
So remember, guys, that when you do this count, right, you're going to start to a slow count of 4, and progressively you're going to go to a count of 8. So for you guys, teachers out there, you can comfortably count to 6 or to 8. After that, it's going to really start to interfere with what else you can see in class. But that is the goal of the class, right, is to move progressively slower. And you saw, like with Lacey, is really to keep the right body alignment. And you can see, as you start to slow down, at a count of 16, you start to see that body shake. Because when you start to go this slow, it's at a count of 16, it's like adding weight to your body. So at first, your body will acclimate itself very easily, but at count of 16, it becomes almost like a whole new workout. And this is why I'm very interested in cultivating that aspect of the workout with the slower count. So go to a count of 18 and 20 and 24 and 30, for example, because there's so much greatness here in that workout. What I wanted to show you too is like when we went to the count of 16, right? Look at those abs right here. She used all of her abs. She used all of her core to pull the body up. So when you look again at the lunge at count 16, you see that she really had to keep that body aligned. And that's why I tell you guys, you have to keep the torso vertical, because now you have to integrate your abs. In order to maintain that control and that same slow speed and that perfect body alignment, you have to do what? Completely engage your core, because at the speed of 16, this becomes a core-centric exercise. And it doesn't matter which movement you're doing. It could be an upper body movement or lower body movement. You feel the entire body, because now your body is hesitating. And Lacey was saying this. She's like, yeah, I counted 16. I could feel that I could go back and forth. I mean, I could feel kind of the spring, both direction. And that's exactly what we want. We want to come to a point where your body is hesitating to move up or down because you go so slow. You want to stay in that zone because at that zone, this is where your core, your abs, everything comes into play. This becomes a complete, total, integrative, fully immersed, full body workout when you go that slow. But you have to keep that body alignment. And anyway, so I wanted to point this out. It's fantastic. So anyway, at home, you saw I counted. My count is to a beat of 127 beats per minute. So it's not exact. I play different music in class. I'm between 125 and 130 beats per minute. 127 is my jam. So this is why I say when I do a count of 4, it's 8 to 10 seconds. It's not a precise science because it depends on the beat per music. So obviously, I'm going to get to count of 4 faster if the music is at 130 beats per minute versus if it's 125 or 120 beats per minute. But I prefer music at about 127 beats per minute. That's what I feel is the most beneficial as far as the count is concerned. So 8 to 10 seconds for a speed of 4, speed of 8, 16 to 20 seconds, right? Speed of 12, we're looking at speed of 16 is going to be basically double that, right? So you can, for the same slow speed, so at home, if you don't have the tempo player, you can count in your head, and that's pretty much how I did the count. Lacey, thank you so much for coming today and demonstrating for us. Oh, so now we have to do the same thing on the right leg. But for you guys, this is it for today, okay? We'll do the right leg separately. And then anyway, if you have any questions, recommendations, suggestions, whatever, please email us, info@lagreefitness.com. And again, my name is Sébastien Lagree. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Lacey.
Thank you.